Welcome to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you are ready to find your inner magic, develop great habits, and a rock-steady mindset to feel confident, comfortable, and fit in your body, you are in the right place. I am Kim Barnes Jefferson, and I'll be giving you weekly doses of health, fitness, and life tips sprinkled with humor and real talk. If you're ready to be consistent without the stress of perfection, magic makers, it's time to slip into your favorite pair of PJs, grab some coffee, kick back, and listen to today's show.
So everybody's talking about GLP-1s, right? Every other commercial on TV is all about the variety of GLP-1s. And some women say they're life-changing. Other people say it's cheating. And most women are somewhere stuck in the middle. Should I be taking one? But here's the question nobody is asking. What happens after the weight comes off? And so in today's episode, I am joined by weight loss coach Chanel Green, and we talk about everything. You know, what no one prepares any of us for, with or without a drug, is maintenance, right? We are digging into food noise, why weight loss doesn't magically fix your life, the biggest mistakes women make while taking a GLP-1, and why the medication is only one piece of the puzzle. Because whether you are trying to lose weight through a GLP-1, you've had bariatric surgery, know a friend, someone who's had bariatric surgery, or the old lifestyle changes, eventually every woman faces the same challenge. How do you keep it off without spending the rest of your life feeling like you are on this never-ending diet? If you've ever wondered about GLP-1s or just worried about what happens after the GLP-1, this conversation is for you. And as always, I'd love to hear a takeaway, or if there's something else that you need to hear about GLP-1s, holla at me. I want to hear about it. Enjoy the show. All right, Magic Makers, another iTunes review of the week. This one is from Emmy Roberts 24. She says, Kim is the queen. She is fierce, funny, and smart as a whip. Kim embodies what it means to be a life coach by offering so much more than diet and workout tips. Whether you're a gym junkie or just beginning your journey, she helps you see that living an all-around better lifestyle is not only attainable, but something you can strive for. Regardless of your age, Kim is tough love friend you need to kick your butt into gear. She said something recently that resonated with me. No is a complete sentence. You don't have to explain your boundaries to justify them to anyone. Let that sink in. 5 stars always. Thank you, Miss Emmy Roberts. Yes, that was a game changer for me. You know, when I first started in this fitness journey, I was double dipping. I had a corporate job as well as fitness. And it was really hard for me to say no to clients. It was really hard for me to say no to my boss because I needed the cash. But I was getting burnt the F out. And so I finally had to come up with my boundaries and finally have to say to myself, like, you know what? It doesn't work for me to work out in the morning. Like I just can't do it. And now I don't really hop on the phone with a client until at least 10 o'clock in the morning. I need that warm up time for me. So I really want you to start thinking and exploring your boundaries. I've done several podcasts about boundaries, and please listen to them if you're someone who's like, I need some boundaries in my life. Thank you again, Miss Emmy Roberts. If there's anyone out there who would love to share a iTunes review and you're like, I don't know how to do that, reach out to me. In the bottom of this podcast, you will find out how you can reach out to me for social media, and just shoot me a DM. I will answer them. All right, ladies, enjoy the episode. All right, Magic Makers. I literally just had a 10-minute conversation with her before we press record. And I was like, hold on. This is too good. You guys are going to absolutely love this conversation. Right now, I'm going to talk about GLPs. This is the third time I've had someone talk about GLPs. And because so many of us are seeing women on these things, they're getting results. They're thinking, finally, oh my God, this works. Then maybe you're thinking, oh, should I be on it? And then you also hear people who are like talking shit about them. They're bashing them, when for other people, like, it's the best tool I've ever had in my entire life. And so you're just trying to figure out, like, what is that, like, fine line? But the weight comes off, but then what? Like, cool, awesome. Because weight loss isn't just one thing. It's not a one and done thing. It is a phase. And it's like, how do we kind of work through this in our life and have it be this whole game strategy that we're playing? So today, I brought on Chanel Green, and she's going to really help us talk about like the after, right? Maybe even we might even touch on the before we even go down that path so that you are prepared, so that maybe you have a friend who needs to hear this. They're prepared too. So let's get into it. Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Hey, Magic Makers, before we hop into today's episode, I'm ridiculously excited about something that I'm running. It's called Feed Up Summer. And it was born out of a realization that I had years ago. For the longest time, and probably just like you thought, if I only had more discipline, a better plan, a stricter routine, right? If I could only just get my shit together, then everything would finally click, right? And I get it. Summer happens, and then, vacations, work deadlines, family stuff, all the things pop up. And when you finally realize that the problem wasn't discipline, you start thinking about what can I do differently? So I got it for you. Feed Up Summer. It's a free 26-day experiment for women over 40 who are tired of trying to get it right. She's trying to be perfect, tired of starting over again on Monday. And so you are going to get 26 experiments. You take what you need, you leave the rest, and they're designed to help you to stop making health feel so damn complicated. So do me a favor. We kick off on June 19th. But if you're hearing this after, it's okay. You can still hop in because guess what? There's no track. You decide what experiment you take and you decide what experiment you leave. So hop over to the link in my show notes and have a peek. I hope to see you on the inside. It's like we touched on this before we even press record, and it's just this weight loss is so nuanced, right? You've been in this business for a really long time, and you see women come to you and they're expecting this like magic solution that they're going to come to you, you're going to sprinkle some pixie dust on them, and they're never going to have to think about weight again.
Yeah, that's the fairy tale. That's been a fairy tale of mine since I was about 12, I think.
Right. And it's like, you talked about this, how like kind of people feel like you're so lucky if you get to lose the weight. And it's like, where in our society did like the ability to gain or lose weight become this like lucky girl?
Yeah. And I was having a conversation yesterday about, the stigma associated to the word obesity first off, right?
Yeah.
Most people don't even understand that it's a disease, but it also hasn't been a disease since 2013. So most of us grew up without it being classified as a disease. It's just a personality trait. I'm lazy. I don't try hard enough, all of those sort of classics, right? But I find that the stigma isn't just reserved to the person who's never had the problem. I think those of us who also suffer from the problem are just as judgmental
Oh God, yeah.
as somebody who's never had it. So it just makes a world that's so like, oh gosh, like, did you see that so-and-so's lost 20 pounds? Like, what do you think they're doing? Like, it's so snickery. We're never like, oh my God, did you see that Susan's going to chemo for her cancer? Like, what does she do? Like, we don't talk about it like that, about those circumstances. But when it comes to weight, it feels like it's a privilege.
Yeah. And you nailed it. Cause it's like you go to a party and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, Sharon, what'd you do? And all of a sudden everyone flocks to Sharon because Sharon lost 20 pounds. And then she tells you whatever the hell she did. But then you don't always think to yourself like, could I do that? You just think, oh, Sharon did it, so I got to do it too.
Right. I'm going to jump right in. And then there's the dishonesty part. Because not everybody's super honest about what they're doing anyway. And I see this amongst, I primarily work with people who have bariatric surgery, but there's a whole thing there where people don't want to share that that's the way they've lost 100 pounds in less than a year.
Well, because it's like the shame, right? The shame around that feel like you took the easy way out.
Right.
I'm air quoting where like I have several friends who've gone the bariatric route, and I personally have seen all the crazy, ridiculous crap they did to lose weight before they went down that route. And, as you said, like on either end of the spectrum, whether you're 500 pounds or you're 5 pounds, the mental noise that you tell yourself about where you are on that scale it's crippling for some people.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah. I wish that there was a one-time magic solution, but I always compare this to cancer because it's just,
Yeah.
I mean, statistically, it's not too far off from each other. But with cancer, we don't have a one size fits all situation here either. You don't just have chemo, you don't just have surgery, you don't just take a medication. It's usually a combination of many things to solve the problem and to put it into remission.
Right.
And that's the same thing with obesity. It's not something that goes away. Like I had bariatric surgery almost 4 years ago, and I eat a particular way today to maintain and to treat it. But if I go back to the way I was before, I'm probably going to experience regain.
Oh, God, yeah.
I will see reoccurrence, as they'll say, if I don't keep it in check. It's many things. And GLP-1s get so much more heat than bariatric surgery does now. Like it used to be bariatric surgery was that, like you said, quote unquote, easy way out. Now the GLP-1 is the much more easier way out people see. And, I've seen content creators who deny being on it. And then when it comes out, it just ruins their careers. And it's like, to what degree do people have to be so forthcoming about what medications they're on unless they're, pitching a different direction? But there's this gray area between being so open and honest with everybody and also having the privacy between you and your doctor.
Right. But I also feel like with bariatric surgery, one, I can't do it on myself. So there's that. But I also feel like there's guidance, right? All of the patients all the clients that I know that have had it, you have to sit down with not just your regular doctor, you have to sit down with a psychiatrist to understand that, like, you understand all of the ramifications. You're not going into this thinking that you're going to come out 2 pounds. Like, all of the kind of the ups and downs and all the rounds are being discussed before you go underneath the knife. Now I feel with GLP right now, like, because you and I are talking, God knows what ads I'm going to start being served.
Right.
Because we're having this conversation. I know if I turn on my TV right now, if I give it an hour, I'm going to see at least 3 commercials for not only from the provider, but from a company that I can just get it from.
Yeah.
So it's really, I feel like for a lot of women, the barrier to entry is 0 now.
Yeah, you can get it from anybody. I mean, you literally can get it from anybody. I mean, I can make a phone call right now and have it dropped off my house in an hour from someone who may not have the ability to be prescribing it because it's so easily attainable, but it comes with such a lack of understanding on how they work. And I find that in my community, people are put on this medication after surgery and have that same problem. No guidance, nobody to sit down and say, listen, let's eat this way. And this is how the surgery works and or how the pill works and the shot and how what sort of consequences or symptoms and things you might have expected. And also I think the elephant in the room is that you're going to stay on it. It is a marriage that does not have an ending.
So it's interesting they say, because that was one of the questions I had. So I was listening to another a woman who she's been in the peptide space for a really long time. And she talked about the potential of cycling GLP so that, if done the right way, you've modified your food, your strength training, you're doing all the things that you're supposed to do. And this drug is doing what it's supposed to do, assist, not be the only person working. That she was like, she could see at some point people being on a very, and I hate to use the word microdose because I feel like that word has become so bastardized. Because it's like, some people are like, I don't know the milligrams. So but I'm on 100 milligrams, I'm microdosing versus someone who's like, I'm on 1 milligram. I'm like, 100 doesn't seem like a microdose to me, but I'm like, I'm no doctor. But she was talking about how, if you're doing all the steps, that potentially that it's something that could be something that you kind of cycle in and cycle out of versus, as you mentioned, this is like a one and done, this is your life for forever.
Yeah, I think that it depends on the person. If we're talking the woman with 20 pounds, then that's a whole different subject. And there's some people in the bariatric space who will argue that GLP-1 shouldn't be prescribed to that woman looking for 20 pounds. It's too powerful, You talk to somebody with a 65 BMI, they're not going to be cycling in and out. this is
Yeah.
a long-term commitment. So it's vastly different. I think that the numbers, like I like to look at the overall cost, because right now it's somewhere between like 150 to 500, which is really better than where it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, it was like $1,200 a month to get a prescription. And if you look at the lifespan, let's say you're on it for 30 to 40 years, I mean, it adds up, right? And, someone with that 65 BMI, that's an expensive long-term commitment versus an out-of-pocket with surgery. If your insurance covers it, maybe 1,000, maybe 2,000, right? But I think that it still comes back down to my question I ask anyone who says to me, I think I'm going to go on a GLP-1. Whether they have had surgery or it's just like a regular 20 pounds to lose kind of person, tell me everything you ate yesterday.
Right.
Let's just start there.
Yeah.
And I find that it's the problems with what they ate yesterday. It's not maybe the GLP-1. If you got a killer diet, you got some good mobility. I'm not saying perfect. I'm not saying you're nailing your macros to the wall every single day, but like you're doing pretty well and you're still stuck. It makes sense, right? But if you have a diet that's not great and you go on this thing and now you're not hungry and you don't have breakfast because you weren't a breakfast person anyway.
Right.
And then lunch, maybe you grab something at the vending machine. And then dinner, you grab some drive-thrus and Uber Eats. And then there's a nutrition problem.
Yeah.
Where are you getting vitamins from? Where are you getting your fiber from?
Right.
And I see that very common in the particular type of clientele we have is they can't eat 1,200 calories anymore on the GLP-1. They can't even, then that's on a good diet. On a not great diet, they can get up to 2,000 without a problem with the medication. But when you say, hey, I want to have a vegetable at every meal, and all of a sudden they're so full,
Right.
It's like this profound problem. And it's like, well, what if we would have tried that first?
Yeah. Agreed. And I've had two doctors, you're the third doctor I've had on, and
I'm definitely not a doctor.
Not a doctor. I have two doctors, but I have two doctors and three kind of GLP conversations, and they all boil down to the same exact thing. How you go in, right? And so it's like getting you to that place where your diet, like you said, I'm not looking for a spot on diet, but I'm also looking that you're not like losing your ever loving mind around food. I'm looking that you're like taking the steps to eat better, being more mindful about what it is that you are actually eating versus just I eat what I eat and that's how it is. And
I heard a bariatric surgeon say, because we start talking about like food noise, which is a really common word in bariatric surgery world, but I think with the GLP-1s, the general public now recognizes that word, the food noise.
Right.
And I heard a bariatric surgeon say once, it's like, sometimes I don't know if it's food noise as much as it's chemical noise.
1,000% chemical noise. There's a book, I think it's called, I'm gonna remember the name of it and I'll put it in the show notes, but it's a book and it's a guy, he's a former like food chemist. And he talked about how his sole job was to come up with texture, come up with smells so that you either crave the food or if you opened the bag, you didn't want to stop eating it.
Yeah. 100%. There's also Fat, Salt, and Sugar.
Yes, that's the book
by Michael Moss. Yeah. That's an excellent book. Metabolical by Robert Lustig, I think is great as well. And then another book I always recommend to people in my space is Food Junkies by Dr. Vera Tarman, kind of exploring the idea on the addiction side of it, which is something that is not recognized by the DSM currently, although it does look like it'll be added to the 6th. And I think that'll open up a whole new conversation and also hopefully give people more resources that the insurance companies are willing to cover. Because that is a controversial subject. I'm a recovering alcoholic myself, and I embrace that easily today. Like I am who I am, right? I can't drink. It's not a big deal. It's been a long time since I have one, and my life's been greatly improved since I've stopped doing that. My relationship with food very much mirrored my drinking relationship.
And, as much as you use the example of cancer to, this, I use alcohol all the time because alcohol is a socially accepted thing. If you are out and you don't have a glass of wine, what are you doing? Why aren't you having a glass of wine with me? Like it's a big thing. Or if we're eating, like why aren't you eating? And so it's like you have to feel like you have to explain yourself around your food choices or not having alcohol, where no other thing in the world, if you're like, oh, I'm not driving, like, okay, you're not driving. And there's no questions. But around food and alcohol, you get like the kind of the third degree about your lifestyle choice.
I have a theory about this. So I have come to realize that when I say I don't drink, someone I'm like out at a thing and someone says, oh, you're not drinking or something like that. And I say no, and the subject is dropped, totally chill. Someone then decides they need to like explain their drinking to me. I'm probably talking to a fellow alcoholic because only under those circumstances did I ever do it. If I would have encountered somebody who was like, I'm at the bar, but I'm not having a beer. When I was drinking, I was questionable and pushy about it. Like, what do you mean? Like, I needed them to validate me. You need to have one too. And until I find out why you're not, I'm going to continue to beat this dead horse. And I've also found the same thing with food.
Yes.
That, I mean, everybody in my circle knows I had bariatric surgery because I work with bariatric patients all day long. And it's all over my social media. Like, you'd have to, be my mailman, or maybe he probably even knows too. But everyone in everyone in my circle knows. But the few times I encounter people who don't know, and then I tell them, that I don't like, I was at an event and I passed on the dessert because I don't eat sugar. And they, had asked me about it. And then the conversation is like, well, oh, so you don't ever have it at all. Like, I'm trying to cut back too. And like, it's like when people have to defend themselves without me asking the questions, like, and I'm always willing to have those conversations because I know that I might open the door to something that they haven't explored before. But I often just find that bounce back tells me a lot about who I'm talking to.
Yeah, and you're right. Because it's like I used to do fitness competitions, and when I was doing them, I didn't drink. Like, I had a very specific diet and I didn't drink. And I remember being at a backyard barbecue, and I'm minding my own goddamn business. I barely knew this guy. And, he's passing around the wine. I'm like, oh, thanks, I'm good. Like, I'm good. And he's like, oh, well, why don't you? He goes, oh, do you want red? I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, for all drinks.
Right, right.
I have my water. I am fabulous. And he's like, well, why aren't you drinking? And so, like, in my mind, I'm like, who are you? Like, it's none of your goddamn business why I'm not drinking. And I was like, oh, I have a show coming up and I just don't drink. And he goes, well, could you have like a sparkling seltzer? I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
Like, how many polite ways can I say I'm good before I have to be like, shut the bleep up?
Yeah. So, and it's just, it's that mirroring, like people see something, and I just know I did the same thing with my drinking. I would have been that person. I would have hounded you until you were like, I will no longer talk to you.
I mean, it got to that point. I was like, for the love of God, I have said no in like 50 different ways in a very polite tone.
Yeah.
At this point, politeness is about to leave the room.
Yeah. Definitely just a mirror.
Yeah. And it's tough because it's like with alcohol, you don't have to have alcohol to survive. With food, I have to have food to survive. I can't be like, I'm not going to eat anymore. It's fine.
Right. And that's where you have to define what it is. I don't have a one size fits all approach to this. I know what doesn't work for me.
Yes.
And that's it. And then I can talk to the next person who can maybe have sugar and like honey and maple syrup, and maybe they put it on their vegetables they roasted, right? And that's totally cool for them. And I can talk to somebody else who has maybe an issue with like sucralose or something. Like, everyone is different, and you have to define it. You have to really, really define it for yourself and then live in that solution. And
it's interesting that you say that, because I had a woman who was on talking about food addiction, and she was talking about how, like you said, it's not recognized. And she's like, I don't understand why all these other things that we can be addicted to are recognized, but food has yet to make it into the book. But she was talking about how sugar's her thing. She's like, I turn into a gremlin. She's like, I just lose my ever loving mind when sugar comes in. And she's like, I've played with different things. And she's like, my clients, I always have to be like, we have to find the gremlin. She's like, I won't know what your gremlin is. You won't know what your gremlin is
Right.
until till we're now more aware of what we're looking for. And so like you said, like she goes, I can't have it at all. She's like, other people can have a sprinkle. They can have like, maybe a specific type of sugar, but she's like, all sugar just lights me up and I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And I think we're just seeing more people talk about this today too. Like it's just becoming more and more to light because some of us who've been dieting once again since we were teenagers, we're coming up on like 20, 30, 40 years of this. And there hasn't been a solution for us.
No, but it's also all you've ever known. So unless you become aware, you don't realize and like she said, she's like, I struggle with my weight my whole life. And then she's like, it wasn't until like menopause. So she's like, I'm now in my 40s before I really realized how bad my sugar problem was.
Yeah. That was the same thing. I didn't realize how bad it was until I had my surgery.
Right.
After my surgery, I was restless, irritable, and discontent in my head. I was like, couldn't understand what was going on between my ears and I can't eat. And also I don't necessarily have a desire to do it. And it was just like the first 90 days of my sobriety from alcohol.
Right. And these are the things that like I can, as your provider, say, hey, Chanel, these things, like, and I'm reading, like, these things might happen to you. And then you're just kind of like, shut up. Cause like they're rattling off like, your hair might fall out. Like all these like random things. And you're just like, whatever, I'm half listening to you. Can you just shut up already?
I mean, we've tried things that are now used to make meth. So like, I don't know how much the GLP-1 scares us when we're like, you don't know the stuff I put in my body to lose weight.
Right. And so you're like, and then like when they read this list off, they start with like the most craziest thing. And then you've already tuned out.
Yeah.
Like the thing you're like, oh, that's never going to happen to me. But then when they get down to like, you might find that you don't have aversions to this or this or this. And you're just like, you've already been like, my ears have just quietly, I just see your mouth just yipping away.
Yeah.
So as we're talking about this, like one of the big things that I see for people who go on these pills, they titrate you up to a certain milligram. And so I see that, like, especially because people join Facebook groups and I talk about, oh, I'm at this milligram and I'm down 400 pounds. And then you tell me you're at this milligram and you're down 600 pounds. And then that to me means I'm failing.
Right. In the comparison trap.
Right. Yeah. So because Chanel's at, whatever doses she's at and she's lost 600 pounds and I'm at a lower dose and I've only lost 400 pounds, I should jump up.
Yeah. Right. That would be a conversation to have with your doctor. I mean, how fast are you even losing weight? Just like, what was that person's time frame? Was somebody on this medication for the last 2 years? Or in the bariatric space, people compare themselves all the time. And I'm like, dude, the autoimmune disorders, some of you guys are type 2, some of you guys are not. Some people are more mobile than other people. Like, there's just so many factors. The surgery is got a different result for just about every single person that has it. And then you also have to think about like what you're measuring just as the surgery and what the patient does and control. Right. The same thing with the GLP-1, like what is the GLP-1 contributing to?
Yeah.
What is the patient contributing to? There's two people that have to show up to this party.
Right.
It's a marriage with the medication or with the surgery. And if only one person's putting in the work, you're not going to get where you want to go.
So if I'm, let's just assume that I'm not just reading someone's post blind and just says, I lost 600 pounds. What are like the first signs for me that it's time for me to truly increase the dosage?
Yeah, I would be tracking all of my food.
Mm-hmm.
I would have some movement going on, whether you should be lifting on this medication because the muscle loss is one of those side effects. If you lose muscle, your metabolism isn't operating and jiving at its best ability anyways. But tracking all of your food, you're staying in the appropriate amount of calorie range you're supposed to. You're making the solid choices and that thing hasn't moved. You've been stuck for about a month. Then I think it's a conversation to have. And the more data you have, the more, and hopefully you're getting this from your primary or somebody in the space that you can go in and show that data to.
Right.
And say, look at what I've been doing. This is what I've been eating. This is the part I've been showing up on. I can control this lever, right? Can you help me control this other lever? Is there changes that lever can have?
Right. And so one of the big things that like we all see, one of the fitness people that I follow, she posted a picture of 3 different movie stars. And they all look like, walking skeletons. And at what point, and let's just say I'm going to a reputable person. I'm not getting it off of, user 555 on TikTok. I'm going to a reputable person. At what point are they like, okay, you came in and you said your goal weight was X. At what point does that provider say to me like, hey, you're already at this goal weight.
Right.
We're going to either keep you at whatever doses that you might be at, or maybe start to try to kind of titrate you down to kind of see what the kind of minimum effective dose is for you.
Yeah. And I feel if you're coming in and you're defiant against that you want to continue to lose weight.
That's a conversation.
Yeah, that's maybe not with your primary. He might need to refer you out to somewhere else about that problem. But I would hope that the primary wouldn't continue to push it, into an unhealthy space, because the heroin chic, I mean, it was definitely left in the 90s, but now has made a reappearance here.
Right. Like everything comes back.
Yeah, back. The 90s are hot right now. They are hot. So I guess that part's back. Looking like a skeleton. Like I think when you say that, the first person that popped up in my name was Kelly Osbourne.
Oh yes,
just looks so different. And what's funny is, if you saw photos of me before my surgery, we do resemble each other very much. And so I have watched myself lose weight, and I'm like, man, I really do look a lot like her. And then I've watched this version, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need that heroin chic. Like, that's not a look I think.
No, because I do remember did she have surgery? Because I do remember the first.
I think she did. I can't say that with matter of fact, but I feel like I've heard her on a podcast say that she had the sleep.
Because I remember,
but don't quote.
Yeah, because I do remember, like, when she was on when they were on MTV, and then I do remember the first time I saw her like leaner, and now she's leaner.
I think it looked like she did it somewhere around like 2018, 2019. But now she's very, very thin. But take into consideration, she just had the death of her dad. So like, who knows?
There's
what
a lot of factors going on there.
And I always question like what the mega wealthy have available to them that the average person doesn't. Right. I will say her face does not look like that was implants and Botox. It looks like a skeleton with the skin.
Yeah.
Like pulled back dramatically. I don't really.
And I think right now, like one of my biggest challenges with it is that like, and you work with this population too. Like, I have like a lot of my women, they're over 40 and they've been doing the work. Like I see it, like, I see their food logs. I see their workout. I see their workout. I see it. And then, you look at someone online who's like, I just lost my last 10 pounds and I'm going to Cabo. And you're just kind of like, what the hell?
Right.
And then, and
it's like, what is that person doing? And also, I take everything on social media with a grain of salt, because people are not showing reality. I know it was easier. I guess I live on social media. My whole business thrives on social media, and I look at stuff in the space of bariatrics, and I roll my eyes 10 times a day, because a lot of it is just
bullshit.
Like, I'm like, okay, sure. I'm that bad, 3 months post-op, like how many, chicken McNuggets can I put down and I'm still losing weight? And I was like, well, yeah, no shit. Like, you just had the surgery. You can eat whatever you want for that first 6 months and still lose. But I just don't take all of it with a grain of salt, because that's it's also, to me, rage baiting. Like, if you're trying to get views or funnel people into something, say stuff like that. Like, I just lost my last 10 pounds. And I'm headed to Cabo. Want to know how I do it? Send me a DM below and I'll tell you. Like,
right. Yeah. And it's not like, and like, especially if I'm in bed scrolling and I've had a long day, it's really easy for me to like go down that rabbit hole to be like, like, this bitch lost 10 pounds. And like, here I am, like, doing all
busting
the
my
things.
ass.
Right.
Yeah, busting my ass. And then it's like, but you don't know anything about this person, right? I always think like, I see people like, do I genuinely see people who have things that I want? Not just one singular thing, right? Like if someone's got something that I'm like, this is something I want out of my life, does it also reflect in their family? Does it reflect in their marriage? Does it reflect in their career? Not just because they have a great body or like a nice car. Like what else do they have? Do I truly want what some of these people have? And maybe she lost that 10 pounds on a GLP-1 and is barely getting like 1,200 calories in a day and, you know, is fatiguey and nauseous. I don't know that part in the picture. I don't know that part of the story. I'm just making up assumptions.
Right. Right. And so here's kind of like the big elephant in the room. So as you kind of, as people go on these medications, does the physician talk about the exit strategy, right? Like they're all like, great, Sharon, here you go. I called it into CVS, you're all set, right? Or there's, from what I'm seeing, and, you know, so like I told you earlier, I was listening to a podcast from a woman who does more longevity medicine. And I liked her approach because she was like, she goes, I do think it's a great tool. She goes, but I also think, you know, we talked about the cycling of like, you know, maybe sometimes you're on it and sometimes you come off it. And it's kind of more of a yin and a yang thing versus this long-term marriage. Maybe it's kind of like, you know, we meet every season for a date.
Right.
Versus we get married. And so do you see that as a potential, or the fact that like doctors just say like, here you go. And as long as your insurance covers it, rock on with your bad self.
Yeah, I think in the bariatric space, it's given as a last resort. And they don't get a lot of time with a patient at that point. There's very little, and insurance companies don't pay for these post-op visits. When it comes to the bariatric population, like you go see your primary, you know, I'm sure they have pamphlets now that are like, here you go. But I don't think they talk about an exit strategy. And I don't think they really even get into nutrition because I've never had a primary, and I love my primary. He's like 36 and the system has like not ruined him yet. Like he's a great guy. Okay. Like luck of the draw that I got matched up with him. But like at a certain point, you know, follow that guy in 15 years from now, you know, he's seeing how many people an hour. He's double booked. You know, they don't have time to sit down and say, this is what we're going to do. And let's test it out. And maybe you can come off of it, but let's focus on the diet. And this is what the diet should look like. They're not. And even if they did, even if they gave me a one-sheeter, how many other times in my life have I gotten that one-sheeter about my diet?
And threw it in the backseat of your car.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't use it I never looked at it. I know what it is. If we've been dieting for so long, we know what we're supposed to be eating. It's that getting into action part's hard for everybody. But to come back to your question, I don't think that most places have the time. I don't want to say they don't want to, but I don't know if they have the time to provide a full comprehensive understanding and a plan we're going to start here. And then, you know, other than upping the dosage, which is usually how those conversations go.
Yeah. And, you know, the one conversation that I want to like have die beyond the 1,200 calorie diet is this idea that we are supposed to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. Like I want that conversation to die. I think I'm at this point a slow, painful death because so many women feel like they're failing. They aren't hitting that. And I do know, and probably in the bariatric space, but I do know in the GLP space that like maybe in the beginning, you know, the weight's like, you know, coming off, but like after, you know, I don't know how many months, depending on you and what you're actually doing, it might look like maybe a half a pound. It might look like 0 weight that week and 0 weight the next and 0, 0, 0. And then maybe you get a pound.
Yeah. And the scale is such a
fickle bitch.
It controls us. You know, you get on it and you're down a pound or down 2 pounds. You're ruling the world. You're the nicest, most pleasant person everyone's going to encounter that day. You get on it and it's 2 pounds up and your husband is like unsure of who he married. Like your kids are like, what is up with mom? Like you're just mad dogging everybody. And all we know is maybe you just needed to take a shit. Like,
No.
you don't really even know what happened.
1,000%. Or maybe last night you went out and you had a couple margaritas and some chips.
Yes. And you're bloated and inflamed. Like,
right.
yeah.
All you need is a couple of days to like get the water to flush through and boom, you're back to where you were. But yeah.
One thing I do today is I don't really get on the scale anymore. I've had 3 plastic surgeries since I lost the weight, and that has caused me to have some inflammation. And so like the scale will really like hold me hostage. And I will be that person that my husband is unsure of who he married anymore. And so I don't get on it. But what I do is I will take photos every Friday in the same positions. And then I actually have them uploaded to my ChatGPT, bless its little heart. And I asked ChatGPT to tell me the differences because we'll never see them, And I did this last year when I was lifting a lot, getting ready for my wedding. And it helped me. And I was like, oh, you're right. Because I do have a little bit of body dysmorphia. Like, I don't see it.
Everyone does. Like,
I do.
You could look at 4 weeks of photos and I could look at your face like getting smaller. I could look at your arm getting a little bit more muscle definition. And you're looking at it and you look exactly the same. The only thing that's changed is that you maybe wore a different outfit. That's the only thing that you see different.
Yes.
Or maybe like you took it at night. So like the lighting is different. But like for like a third party, I'm like, girl, how come you're not seeing your face? How come you're not looking like, So having a third party is.
Yeah. So I'll have ChatGPT nicely tell me what's up.
Right. Because we all are so like our own worst critic. And we will be the bully that we're like, oh my God, did you hear what she said? And you're like, no, you said that to yourself.
Yes. Yeah, I think social media doesn't help either. Like a lot of my girls they'll lose like the first 50 pounds and they'll say, oh, I can't even see it. And I'm like, well, of course you can't see it because like every photo of you is at this angle that you're posting. And now it's starting to actually reflect what you think you've looked like, like we do a really good job of blurring the lines and, on social media and that we don't even see who we are. We don't even know what we look like.
And so, with raised a good point on both sides of the GLP side and the bariatric side. Do you feel that we as women are ever taught how to maintain our weight or just how to diet?
Yeah. I mean, there's 2 versions of Chenille. There is Chenille who is dieting and calorie counting. And, I did Nutrisystem and Jenny Craig so many dang times. Those are the things I did. And there's that version of Chenille. And then there's the version of Chenille who doesn't give a shit. Who's just like, this isn't my problem right now. Right. When I had the surgery, like the key to my success was I had to force myself to the middle person.
Yeah.
I had to like rewrite who I was.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know her. Being healthy, I don't know the woman who does like what does her kitchen look like?
Yeah.
Like, how does she eat out? Like, I had to really like create a character. And like, it was like walking in 2 left shoes until it broke in and really just became who I was, because the only reason I became those other 2 people as well is because I just kept practicing those two types of behaviors over and over and over again.
And that's that's all we were ever taught. Like you're either Susie dieter.
Yep.
Or you're Susie don't give a shit. Like
exactly.
There's not this like middle ground of like, there are some times that I have whatever I want. And there are some times that I'm a little bit more, restrictive about what I'm eating, but they never lived together. They were always like in separate camps.
Yeah. And like one camp, like the Susie on top of it camp lasted like 2-3 weeks.
Well, because Susie on top of it was like, this is my life. I live in this little box. And if a hand pops out, it's over.
0 to 100, right? Like, and if I mess up, I'm going to mess up for the next decade. It ain't going to just be this one meal that I'm going to make this choice on. I'm going to ruin the rest of the day. And then I'm going to feel like crap tomorrow. So I'm going to ruin the whole weekend. And then Monday, I'll get it together. And Monday comes and, oh, you know what? I'll just wait till it's April 1st because it's almost the end of March now. Why don't I just wait and do it then?
And then then something will happen at work and you're like, oh, it's going to be really busy at work. So I'm going to, you know what? May 15th. That's
and then there's the wedding and then there's that birthday party thing you have to go to. Yeah. Like, and I had to sit down and figure out how I was going to handle all those situations. Because they were always going to happen. I'm always going to vacation. I'm always going to have a birthday. I'm going to always do things with my kids. How am I going to do them? I'm not going to get into that situation and wing it anymore. Because winging it left me with one or two solutions.
Oh my God. I love when people I bring on the show, I've literally never met this woman before 40 minutes ago. And like, she's just speaking things I say. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to reach to the phone and just give you a big kiss on the mouth. Because that's exactly what I talk about with my clients. I was like, guess what? I'm like, if we look at our calendar for the next 90 days, if I pull my calendar, I'm going to tell you that it's going to be somebody's birthday.
Yeah.
It's going to be some holiday. It's going to be something or another. And instead of us just being like, oops, Easter snuck up on me. Oops, Christmas snuck up on me.
Didn't think we were going to have one this year, but I guess it showed up again.
Right. Like Easter and Christmas aren't like a blizzard. Like right. You don't know when that's going to happen. But I'm like, you go in the store like 3 months ahead of time, all the crap's out.
All of it's there. Yeah.
But it's like, everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe that it's Easter now. Oh, I can't believe it's Christmas. Like, yeah, you do. It happens every year, around the same time.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's like, you have to sit down and you have to kind of like, I work with my clients to be like, I'm a 90-day girl. I'm like, what's happening in the next 90 days? And how do I have to adjust my life based on my life? Like, first is what we normally do. Like, this is my plan. This is my plan. And then you're like, life happens and you're like, but my plan.
Right. And the thing that's worked the best for me is having like a pretty tight show at home, because the home's so controllable.
Yeah.
Like what I'm eating at home is controllable. Having an idea, planning my day like the morning of, and knowing what all my meals at home are going to look like. But then if I'm going out, it's not that I have a free-for-all going out. I have done like a slight bit of research. I looked at the menu. I tell my spouse what I'm planning on having because he knows he's going to eat the other half of that. So I'm like giving him an update, I'm going to do this. And I tend to stick at the same things. And I live in Vegas, so I have the opportunity to go to so many great restaurants and all the time, and I love going out and I love living in the city. But like, I'm not going to go out and have dessert every single time. I really rarely ever do. But I still go out and I get the lobster and I get the steak, which are totally aligned with my goals. I don't walk into these spaces and being like, oh gosh, I'm just not going to stick to it today because I have to go to this restaurant. I'm always going to go. I just have to just run a little bit of a tighter ship at home and make a little leeway there. Maybe there's where I will have like a bit of like bread. That might be like one example for me. Maybe out at a restaurant, but at home, that's not really going to happen. I just don't really carry it in the house then. And so it just, And I went on go ahead.
I love how you're making this practical, right? So it's like, this conversation, we've talked about GLPs, we've talked about bariatric, but again, it's a tool, but it's like, she's showing you like, this is what my life looks like. And so I have to make choices so that I can support the tool, right? Because it's like, I'm sure just like on a GLP, if I'm someone who's like, why am I not losing 500 pounds in a week? Well, what is your like lifestyle look like? If I'm on get bariatric surgery, I know from some of my clients, it's like, if I'm eating like a Viking, at some point, I can't keep all the food that I used to eat down. And so I'm spending my quality time on my hands and knees puking. So if that brings you joy, rock home with your bad self.
Party hard with that one. One revelation that I've had, that you would have talked to me at my highest at 298 pounds, I would have told you to F off. But the biggest revelation for me is that I thought that the number on the scale was going to fix the rest of my life.
Oh God, yes, absolutely.
And it didn't. It was another, like when I hit my ultimate weight of 150, it was another day that ended with the letter Y. Like the sky didn't crack open. The voice of God wasn't like, you've succeeded at nothing.
No confetti came from the sky.
No. And I was like, and at that point in my life, because I was at a different place, I was still in a shitty relationship. I still had some shitty friends, some shitty problems that didn't just miraculously disappear because now I had the number on my scale that I liked. So if I can have the life I want and enjoy my life and do the things that keep me happy and are healthy, chances are the scale's just going to stay in the place that it needs to. And that's what I always encourage my clients to do. Like, get out and live your life. Don't make it about that thing you're going to make at home that you saw on Pinterest. Like, you'll have the time for that stuff. Go live it, man. When you've been like, at these higher weights, we haven't had mobility. We haven't had the ability to do stuff. And then all of a sudden you get that back. Why spend it scrolling TikTok for the next, Ninja Blender recipe? Like, go out and live, do something, walk the dog, like dance to some music, like go to the park with your kids, like just find something and like enjoy it. And the scale will stay there if you're just living your life and not obsessing about the meal.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like, we've talked about it because there are people who've been on the scale for 30 years, right? And so it's like the scale now is just something else they do in the bathroom, right? They don't know how to like go in the bathroom and not brush their teeth and step on the scale, right? So it's like taking, finding a way to like interrupt that pattern of like I go on the scale and I weigh myself and or like, taking away the meaning. As you said, it's like take the picture. Like every Friday you take the picture and not be like tie it to the scale said XYZ.
Right. Right. So I just don't get on it. Like I have one here, but it doesn't control my life anymore.
Right. And, and you've kind of mentioned it too. And it's all of this is ancillary to what is your life? Right. So, a lot of the women that I have seen is that like, if you have other shit going on in your life, weight becomes really number one for you because it's something you can control. Where the rest of your life, you don't feel like you don't have a lot of control. Weight's the one thing. I can control what I eat. I can control what I work out. But, if I have, like you said, like shitty environment around me, shitty work, I always feel like, nothing is right. This is going to make it right.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And when you like in our client base, I've had women join our program and they were like, I want to lose weight. And we start to peel the onion back. And I'm like, oh my God, they're drinking every day. They have a second relationship, the husband. I mean, just these wild things. And I'm like, my God, why are we trying to fix this problem right now? Like,
right. You got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing here? Like, there's so many other things going on. And like, I couldn't have fixed my weight problem when I was drinking. And I many times tried to do that, and I found that, you couldn't be an alcoholic and still lose weight. It didn't work for me, and I would try it. I became a very recreational cocaine user for about a decade. And I was like the Chris Farley of cocaine usage, man. Like I was putting on weight doing coke. Like nothing was working. And I would try to diet in that chaos. Like, okay, it's time to order another box of Nutrisystem. Like this space food's going to fix the problem. It had nothing to do with the fact that I was drinking every day.
Right. It had nothing to do with all the other vices I had.
No. Yeah.
It was definitely the Nutrisystem that was missing. That was
the missing piece.
I absolutely love it because like now, like, now we can all like look back at some of the stupid shit that we did and you're just kind of like, you're just kind of like, how come I didn't think, like, you're like, God, I was so dumb.
Oh my gosh. Like, the average woman diets 17 years of her life actively dieting. And I wish I would have heard that number a long, long, long time ago, and I was like, so I could be actively dieting for 17 years going in and out of these things, or I could just be living my life.
Well, but it's kind of also like alcohol, right? Like,
yeah,
to you, you're like, I'm having a good time. Right. And then everyone has to have that one like, oh shit moment. And you never know what that like, oh shit moment is for somebody. Yeah. And I always say that to my girls. I'm like, I see the brick wall that you're running towards. I tell you you're running towards a brick wall, but some of y'all be like, I think you're right, Kim. Others need to hit it, fall down into a heap on the ground. And then I'm like, I got you.
Right. Rock bottom is so like a different interpretation for everybody. Like my husband is also in recovery and he, our rock bottoms are so different. Like you wouldn't have thought this guy had a problem. But if you saw me at my rock bottom, you'd be like, oh yeah, there it is. There is that bottom.
Or like people who knew you back in the day, you're like, oh, that girl.
Yes. They're like, that does not surprise me at all. Like it was very obvious. And sometimes people find that and unfortunately they keep digging, then
they're like, China must be down there, so I'm going to keep going.
I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. And I've seen it in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. Somebody says, comes in with a monkey on the back, especially like, a DUI or something. Like, I'm I'm just here to get, the
To get my
judge off
paperwork
my
signed,
back.
right? To get my paperwork
Yeah,
signed,
and then,
they never really learned the lesson.
Yeah, they'll learn the lesson when they're on the news for doing it again and they killed somebody.
Right.
And then, that rock bottom, has its own scenery that cannot be changed. So
Correct.
permanent scenery down there. But yeah, it's just definition. And when I think about my food, about the rock bottom with the way that I was eating, like I really didn't realize what it was once again until after my surgery. I just thought I ran on, very much the body positivity movement, which I think is like very in the news right now. Again, people are talking frequently about that. And I just thought like it was easier to just accept it than to want to change it. But I also didn't have any education or understanding of it being a disease. No one had ever said those words to me. And when it was really kind of compounded in my head and my surgical team that like, you have a disease. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll go home and Google it. Like,
right. But it's
no,
but this is what I find very interesting is that you have, especially in the bariatric space, primarily because it's surgery, right? I can't do it on myself. That there's conversations, right? Like before I cut you open, you can't just go into your doctor and like, all right, you free next Thursday? Like there are several conversations that have to happen before I cut you open.
Right. Because it's like, well, yeah, absolutely. And you won't get that with the medication. Like this is never going to happen.
I can go online right now and in the space of our conversation, probably have a prescription coming my way. And I answered maybe 5 questions.
Yeah. Yeah. And also you can go to Tijuana and probably get it in the next 72 hours.
But what can't you get into? I was like, what can't you get in Tijuana? I could probably get my teeth capped while at the same time I'm getting a gastric sleeve.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I don't know. Like I always think that someone with those high BMIs, like, yeah, just save yourself the circle, man, and get that surgery and start there and then add the medication in. But surgery is obviously scary and there are complications
for sure
of the surgery. And we heighten when these things happen. Right. We heighten when we hear like that. I think there was a woman on TikTok who just passed away from plastic surgery. That's just been like all over my feed. And now, everyone has an opinion about that. But we don't see those things about how many people are going to die from type 2 diabetes today.
No
one's talking about that. No one's. Yeah. And when I think about the long term, the negative, remarks about being on these medications long term, nobody says that to a diabetic who's going to be on insulin forever. No one's like, do you realize you're going to be on insulin for the rest of your life? Can you believe that? Nobody says that.
No one says that. Or you're going to be on this cholesterol medication for the rest of your life. No one ever says that or gives you shit that you're on a cholesterol medication.
Right. But you want to do something positive for your life? You want to start changing it towards the right direction. And, hopefully the medication can help with that along with your lifestyle choices. Everyone has a very different opinion about that. It's almost like we have a society that's like, it's better if we keep you down. Like, I want to not see the person next to me do better than me, and I don't understand where that comes from. And that's probably for a whole other conversation.
Definitely. That could be because there's so many rabbit holes we can go down there. So before I let you go, I do what I call a speed round before at the end of everyone. So GLP, tool or crutch?
With the lifestyle, absolutely a tool.
Biggest mistake women make on GLPs?
Not eating whole foods.
Most overrated advice?
Just take the shot. Take the shot and eat small and continue eating and you won't feel full and you'll be fine.
What's one non-negotiable habit?
I think back to Whole Foods, getting fiber in. Like I love fiber. Like 30, if you're non-bariatric, like get 30 grams of fiber in and you're on that medication. The world is your oyster, man. Yeah.
And then what's one thing women need to hear but probably don't want to hear?
You have to change the way you eat. There's just not that magical situation hasn't been presented yet where you can have whatever you want, your cake, and eat it too, and still continue to lose weight. It's just, you have to, and not for the scale, for your overall health.
Yeah. And trust me, if Sheila and I had the magic pixie dust, we'd be selling that shit today.
Right? I'd be on TikTok right now. I mean, I'm headed to Cabo.
We're having a mega live. Come soon. All right. Where can my people find you on the socials?
Bariatricrewrite.com is our website. We have a quite large Facebook group, the Bariatric Group, private group on Facebook. We do a free workshop every 6 weeks, but I always suggest find the website. The socials are linked all right there. And if you come hang out in the Facebook group long enough, you'll get a little bit of an idea of who we are, what we do. And there's a lot to take from there without even going into our programs.
This has been such a fun conversation. And if there's nothing else you took from this conversation, because we went down a lot of rabbit holes and you guys know how I do. GLP is a tool, right? Number one, it's a tool, but you got to still follow some type of healthy lifestyle plan. And if you don't plan on changing your eating or how you're moving or how you're living, you're going to feel stuck. And you're going to be like, why is everyone else getting results and I am not? And it's not because you failed. It's because you didn't show up for what comes next. And you really got to do the work. And that's exactly what I help women do. And it's not to lose the weight, but it's to actually help you keep it off for your real life. Go out to dinner, go on a date night with your sweetie, like go out to a Vegas restaurant and not feel like you're going to lose your ever-loving mind. And if this episode hit with you, do me a favor, send it to a friend, screenshot something that either one of us said and tag us on the socials. And I can't wait to see you guys on the next episode. Thank you again for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you've made it this far, yay. I'm thinking you enjoyed the show. Let's continue the conversation on Instagram. You can find me at Kim Jefferson Coach. In order for me to keep sharing this message, do me a favor and leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe so that you won't miss an episode. New episodes are available every Wednesday. The Fit Girl Magic podcast is intended to provide you with tips, tools, and strategies that will help you make better decisions about your health. I really appreciate your feedback and your support. Thank you so much.